Monday night. I tap that, you know I would. Great cigars, great talk, yeah, it's all good. From the lounge to the show, let's spark up the night. Cigar talk, burn slow, everything's right. Legends and makers, they stop on by, sharing the secrets, the craft, the why. From the rollers to the blenders, they tell their tales. Pair it up with spirits, let the smoothness sail. Wrapper, binder, alright. Flavor notes hit just right. Retro hail, take it slow. Only I tap that cigar show. I tap that, you know I would. Great cigars, great talk, yeah, it's all good. From the lounge to the show, let's spark up the night. Cigar talk, burn slow, everything's right. So cut it, toast it, take that draw. Kick back, relax, break out the humidor. If you love cigars, well now you know. It's the I Tap That Cigar Show. I tap that, you know I would. Great cigars, great talk, yeah, it's all good. From the lounge to the show, let's spark up the night. Cigar talk, burn slow, everything's right. So cut it, toast it, take that draw. Kick back, relax, break out the humidor. If you love cigars, well now you know. It's the I Tap That Cigar Show.
I needed that to be another minute longer. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. I was finishing some jerky, and I needed like another 20 seconds of that intro.
Do you,
So,
do you need the background different? You want me to change
Oh
that?
yeah. You want to change that? Yeah, it was. I was.
Let's see here. It's,
I think we got a Puff and Ponder background. I think. Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for. And
It.
hold on. Oh, cripes. I got nothing. That's it. There's very limited.
Oh,
background. Hold on. There we go. We got it.
So yeah, there StreamYard was having some problems. People were saying that.
Hold on, my bad. There we go.
Yeah, they said that people were they were deleting some stuff. So what's going on, everybody? Henry G, thanks for joining us. Bill Keach, good afternoon, evening. I'm smoking a Perdomo 10th anniversary Maduro Churchill.
Oh wow!
All right. So, Kerr, what are you going to enjoy? What are you starting off the show with?
Well, I am going to go with a Robusto, and I'm going to go with
the Single Barrel Cigar Company.
Single Barrel. This is a Rebel. It's a Connecticut cigar, and it looks like this was spent some time in a Rebel barrel.
Right.
January 14th, 2024 is the date on this.
Oh, right on. Make great stuff. I just sent out a bunch because we're distributing for them now. So I just the last couple weeks I've had to reorder from them already, and I am starting off with I was at the Cigar Circus. Got a few cigars at the grand opening. I'm going to start off. Oh, here, everybody knows my camera, a whole thing. So we're on the webcam. H. Upman, the banker. It's actually
Nice.
not a bad. It's actually not a bad webcam on the built into the to Jessica's computer here. Not even mine.
I use mine from time to time, and it isn't that bad. The FaceTime. See,
Yeah, no, yeah,
it
no,
ain't too
not
bad.
not
I mean,
not not at all.
considering, but you know, it's funny when you said that, when you said, "Hey, we're going live." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." It was, I had to boot up my computer a couple times, and then it was not recognizing my camera again. So I had to unplug it and plug it and unplug it, and I had to fill around with it a little bit before I finally got a little bit of love.
Oh, it's never ending. The people, people always think, like that we just turn on our computers and we still have issue. We have more issues than the average person, so but
Yes, we do.
so I'm enjoying
Mm.
some jerky, some because I'm starving. Habanero hot premium beef jerky. This is from our partners over at JerkyGent.com. So before we kick off the show, let's take a moment to thank JerkyGent for being a supporter of the Puff and Ponder podcast. JerkyGent.com is not just another snack website. They're a flavor expedition for the connoisseur of craft beef jerky. Every month, their Beef Jerky Club subscription box delivers an assortment of premium mouthwatering jerky brands and flavors sourced from across the country. Their carefully curated selections ensure a unique tasting journey for their subscribers with new brands and flavors introduced every month. And I just got a notice right before the show, our next box has already shipped. So
And a sticker.
right on. So yeah, I'm hungry because my this is the time of year that my body clock switches and I get hungrier later in the day.
I've been
So
struggling with this whole spring forward. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I don't know if that's just because I'm getting older or what, but I had a problem with falling back too. Had a tough time falling asleep.
I love it. My body was built for daylight saving time. And notice I said saving time because it's not savings time, people. It's
Yeah, I had
not
to drop the
daylight.
whole S off there.
That's it. So yeah, I was built for this shit. This is when I am most
Mm.
productive. So
Mm.
until the time switches back, Kevin is on his fucking A game.
I'll tell you. The pre-draw on this is nice.
God,
I should have a freaking bourbon right now. Or maybe that'll help me sleep better.
trying to maybe get a lighter at one.
Nope, I got myself my very own old school 1999.
Yeah,
That thing never fails me.
those are definitely the best ones. So
Oh
yeah,
God.
I woke up this morning to my alarm. I can't tell you the last time I woke up to my alarm clock. I'm always anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes early
Yeah.
for my alarm. What's going on? Thanks for joining us as usual. But yeah, so got up, my alarm went off, got up, and did my morning routine, which consists of the exact same thing every single morning. Got to work, and it was a super productive day. I just felt like I had all the time in the world to get things done, and I can see that through my curtain. It is still daylight out, and it is 7:09.
It's
I
nice,
love
isn't it?
it is nice, even though that I'm usually so for the last year, I've been cooped up in my own lounge in my office, and there's been I don't keep the curtains open, so I only have artificial light. So in theory, it shouldn't make a difference. But when I go from the lounge to the house and I got to walk through the garage, I see that it's dark out, and that messes with me. It
Hmm.
tells me when it's dark, it's time for bed. It's time to wind down your evening. And I always feel like I'm behind the eight ball.
I like this time when it stays lighter. What was really tough this morning was waking up and it still being dark.
Yeah.
That was a little tough because I do like the mornings, but it is nice to be able to look out right now and not see darkness. Um, you know, and I don't know. I think I like this, and I'll do well with this after I kind of get reacclimated out. It just seems like I it it just kind of caught me, off guard for some reason. I don't know why. It's odd, and one of the biggest misconception of daylight savings time is that it was for the farmers.
Yeah.
Untrue.
Yeah, because every farmer I know, and I know some farm. My brother-in-law is a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
Huge farmer here in Florida. They hate it. They
Yep.
hate it. Yeah,
It was
and they don't know.
saving energy during the war is why they
Yeah,
enacted it.
yeah, and he hates and some farmers will go one way or the other on which way they actually like it, but for the most part, they just say stick with one of them.
Right.
Honestly, at the end of the day, we're not going to care, but the animals do. The
Mm-hmm.
animals get into a routine. They like to be fed, they like to be groomed, they like everything else. And it throws the animals off and they hate it.
I can imagine, man. That's it. They got routine too. So
Speaking
on
of
our
big animals, what's up, Derek?
on our next show, we got to smoke this one.
Yes. Yes. Now,
That
now you've cracked that, right? So like,
no,
no.
no,
Oh, I think I took the end of mine off trying to rehumidify it.
no. It came cracked.
Oh, it came cracked.
It
Okay.
came cracked. But the history behind this cigar, for all those who are interested or may not know. So this is a Macanudo, right? It's in the glass tubo, and Jessica found this how long ago, Kev?
God, I don't. I mean, easily 3 years ago.
So Jessica found this 3 years ago in a humidor that was donated to the Goodwill. Is it Goodwill? Am I representing
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. She managed the local Goodwill, and that came in, and they can't sell to Tobacconista. So
so we got two cigars, age unknown. We know it's got at least 3 years of age, and probably by the time it was dropped off, picked up and processed, we have at least 3 years of aging and probably a month in the Goodwill hopper. So 3 years and 1 month at least, and one very glorious month at Goodwill. So we're gonna. I think when I take it out of that tubo, I'm gonna have to do some repairs to it. So I don't know if I want to crack it open live on the show and have to do the repairs or do it prior, but I am morbidly curious on how that's gonna smoke.
and speaking of I hate when cigars don't ignite. Like I am fussing. Like I am literally taking a flame to a dried up plant, and it won't ignite. And it will not just stay lit. And nothing about I love this cigar. So I'm not bashing this cigar. I'm bashing this one particular cigar that I'm trying
Hmm.
to light on fire. And it won't. I could burn this whole place down with this, but I can't light this rolled up tube of leaves on fire.
The house will get burnt down, and in the middle of it will be that cigar
Yeah,
unlit.
you worry about house fires, just whatever they did to this cigar, build a house out of this. So yes, and on that cigar, who knows how, like, because that was in like boxes of giveaway stuff. People and people die, their kids bring in boxes of stuff. That was probably in somebody's garage for who knows how long, a decade,
You don't know the story
unhumidified.
behind it, man. I
You know,
mean,
oh yeah, that's great.
it's. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's it's gonna be fun. But the thing is, the problem is, like I said, it is going to be um getting that repair because it is damaged. It
Yeah.
was damaged. The glass tuba that's supposed to protect it, if you leave a little bit of room in there and it bounces around, it gets tossed from the car into the old Goodwill box, and then from the Goodwill box, Lord knows from where. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
It'd definitely be interesting to try and smoke that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you read this. This should be interesting. Get some folks already fired up. But there is a lot of money that they are going to be investigating that went out during those SBA loans, the COVID loans.
Oh yeah. 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 People are already getting hit back with, I think we're going to see it on an
Oh,
epic proportion.
I tell you what, even within this own industry, I've seen people run their mouths and bitch and complain about it and applied for it in the
Oh yeah.
same breath, like
Yeah.
"These
Well,
things, you're
well,
throwing money away," and it's like, didn't you get 50 grand from the government? So it's going to
yeah.
be interesting to see.
Yeah, so we as Cigar Prop or as Emerald Isle Trading Company, we applied for and got, it's public knowledge. You can go and search for it.
Yeah,
An SBA loan.
right.
So we weren't PPP. My loan is not eligible to be forgiven, but it was like they sent me like an email. And it's like, hey, would you like some money at like 1% interest? You repay it over 25 years. And I'm like,
Fuck yeah.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I do. Like that is a great, and it was during COVID. So we bought inventory and I mean, it all went back into the business,
But you did
and
it right. I mean, you like you said, it's like there is, if it's available, you're paying it back, and you're
yeah,
getting a freaking a ridiculous rate, and you're a business that can take it. That's great. It's helpful. I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
lot of people that
Oh,
freaking pissed and moan about the money going out, and they freaking sign their name on the dotted line. Like you said, it's public knowledge.
yeah.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's it. There was talk of some of the SBA loans getting forgiven, and I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus, how awesome would that be? But there was no. Some of them were, but you had to be bigger companies. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, you had to have more than like I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 employees, which we don't have any. It's just me on the books. I mean, Jessica and the kids help, but it's just me. So I wouldn't have, um, uh, it wouldn't apply to me anyways.
you don't fall in
Uh,
that classification.
yeah, like I said, and those were the loans that were like super high, $100,000 plus loans, and
Hmm.
that was not me. So we took out just enough to get some inventory and build up, which is good. It's what we needed at the time, and since then we've always been able to stay ahead. We just
Can you
needed
believe
that
it?
little.
They had over 5,500 loans at 312 million dollars that were issued to 11-year-olds or younger.
God,
And that's the reason
yeah,
why when you have opportunities like this, and like you said, you have an opportunity, you take advantage of the opportunity. And that's why these opportunities can go away, because you have people like that who will just take advantage of the system, you know?
yeah. It's a shame, you bought, we had, I mean, every town has it, you got the business that, they got busted because they're driving a Ferrari now, or they bought an
Hmm.
extra house and, that they still closed down their business, or they laid off an employee. And it's like, how did this happen? And the people I've been seeing, like the videos of the IRS withholding tax refunds, people freaking out, and it was the PPP loans, unemployment loans, or unemployment during COVID, and people were, and they were, you could be working, and those, I don't know what it was, those unemployment, there people were just getting it, like they just fell through the cracks, and then now they're coming back.
I'll tell you what, that's one of the most um, sobering, but also frustrating scenarios when you have to go to the unemployment office.
Yeah.
And I've been laid off, and you have to meet a criteria of so many jobs that you're searching for, and then you go down there and you get audited. You gotta show proof.
Yep.
And I'm like, printed off, copies, and I got sit next to someone with like a yellow notepad with scribbles on it, and just smells like weed and booze in there, and the lines are long, and you finally they get up there, and it's just like, man, I I spent all this time and showed you all the jobs that I applied for just so I can get an extension of this $300 a week or whatever the hell it was, which was better than nothing. Don't get me wrong,
Oh yeah, no,
but
I remember. Yeah, I only had to do
but
it once, and it was like 275. Like it was under $300. Yeah.
but I mean, Pennsylvania was a lot different when because I worked at we went through I went through a stint there in pharmaceuticals where the pharmaceutical industry when I was in the sales division, the evil salesman that was me. Um, from 2008 for about a good 5 or 6 years, man, it was brutal. Um, you join a company, they would go under. You join a small startup company, go under. You join a company, they would downsize. And it happened on the regular, for a good several years there. And it was tough because it's like as soon as you fight for 5 months, 4 or 5 months to get a job, and you finally get a job and you're on, it's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 months later, boom. And then you're back into the unemployment thing again. And it was definitely something for me that was um, very, very enlightening. Just was.
Yeah. It's nuts, in the sector that you're in, in the our mechanics and um all my dad's friends were all in construction. My dad retired from construction rental equipment, and they couldn't find people. We couldn't find people. It's insane. I remember my dad's buddy, and he owned a pool company. He said he paid $18 an hour if you know what a shovel is. He'll give you $20 an hour if you know how to use a shovel. And he couldn't, I mean, and this was back 10 years ago, when those were unheard of wages, $20 an hour for unskilled labor, you
That's
know,
pretty. That's pretty significant. I
uh,
mean,
uh, uh, yeah, and he couldn't find help. We can't find help, and your job's hard. I wouldn't want to do your job.
the worst is when you could see
Yeah,
how, like, when you look at, like, back then, it was like there were so many layoffs. There were so many people looking for jobs. It was like, hey, there's a job I want to apply for. Oh, already has 130 applicants. It's just like,
yeah,
and then they give you the breakdown. It's like, you know, 30 of these applicants have, master's degrees. And you're like, okay, I don't have that. Some of them, and you look at it, half of them have, they're VPs. So you had so many people that were VPs and regional managers who were putting in just for everyday sales rep job just because it was that
oh
thin.
yeah,
Um, and it was, like you said, it's at that point, whenever Joseph asked me, it's like, what advice would you give me, and what do you have? I said, listen, the one thing I could tell you that I wish I would have done, because I get mad at my dad who used to kick me, he used to push me away, from the cars whenever I'd be around him, is learn a skill.
yeah,
If you want to get an education, great, but learn a skill. Learn something that is going to get you. That's either going to be a side job or maybe a passion project or something that if you really, 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 get down to it, it's something that you can fall back on because, if you're a one hit wonder, your options are limited.
yeah. It's trades are great, because depending on the trade, you'll never, if you're an electrician, plumber, welder, mechanic, I mean, so many more. Like there's nowhere you can't go and get a job. Those are always jobs that are in demand. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I would love to stay home and and work from home, but yeah, I mean, out of all of my friends and of my inner circle, like that I know around here that I grew up with, none of them make more money than me as a mechanic. I mean, they all, we talk about that, and they're like, "You make how much?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's dumb, isn't it?" But I'm also broken too, my shoulders are going. I got this bad knee and everything else, and
Working from home isn't like, if you have a good work ethic, That's why some of the stuff that I hear and I read about, with government employees going back, going back in the office to work, et cetera, et cetera. If you're not doing anything, I get it, but I can tell you if you got a good work ethic, um, working from home can be it could be it could suck really quick because um it's not like what everybody thinks. I'm not getting up in the morning and then strolling down and getting my tai chi latte and then going to the gym and then sitting down. And it's like, you roll down, you get your coffee, you're sitting in front of the computer prior to 7 o'clock, 6:30 some days. And there's some days you don't leave until 6:30. And your pacer app, that counts the steps that you take, is wondering whether it should call 911 because they think you're fucking dead. um and you do that, Monday through Friday, and then you put in some times to some hours in on Saturday. So anyone who questions the work ethic or what's being done working from home, yes, there are a lot of people who do take advantage of it. Yes, there's a lot of benefits to it. There are. But I can tell you, and you can ask Jennifer, there's been times when I'll finish up my day, I'll go and I'll have dinner, I'll sit on the couch to watch TV, and it's not like the old days when when you're done with your work, you're done with work. I got everything access on my phone. So bing, my phone will ping. I'll look down, it'll be a Teams message. I'll come back out in the office, hop on a call or look something up and help someone out. Um, and that's where I learned, um, and it kind of wax and wane on it, is a proper work life ratio, if you will, a work life balance, if you will, when working from home, because you can end up putting in more hours working from home just because you're like, I do it all the time. I used to come in on Saturday and be like, no, everyone's asleep. I'm gonna grab a cigar and a cup of coffee. I'm gonna catch up on a few things, and yet next thing you know, you just put in 4 hours.
Oh yeah, so Jessica works from home doing social media for Smoke Inn, and she likes it because she can go and take the kids or do something or do laundry throughout the day. But on her job is weird, like she doesn't have hours. Like when she's working in the morning, like she gets up when I get up, she'll, nobody is at smoke, like nobody's even awake at Smoke Inn, and she's already working. So she'll do a little bit of work, and then when everybody else, she'll get going, and then she can take a couple hours off and do whatever she needs to do if her work is done. But then times that I'll come in from here, it's 10 o'clock at night. She's working. She's doing social
Yep.
media because social media never sleeps. So 11 o'clock at night, she'll be working for a couple hours. Saturdays, she's working for a couple hours here and there.
Yeah.
Sundays, work, it's never. So yeah, she'll probably end up putting in 50 hours a week, but it's, at least for her, it's nice. It's either a few hours here, a few hours there, and she can spread it out, which makes it nice. And as long as she gets her work done, at least they're not tracking her, her, you know, computer and her mouse. She doesn't have to get a jiggler, to say that it's working. But
Yeah.
we'll come back to this. So Southeast Soft Wash, you made a couple comments here. Love the rant vids. Like that last one, basically it was fuck your stupid small business. I'm tired of supporting it. Karen and I have gone on and on about this
Yeah.
over the years. And you had, well, how about you do your shit correctly? Before the show started earlier, I got home and a buddy of mine came over, and the cigar propometer, our cigar ring gauge tool. Um, we love this. There's a local company, a local guy. He's doing laser engraving. He's a friend. Well, he's a friend of my friend. So my buddy is the middleman of that, and they've been working on some samples. And he's messaged me, hey, I got your samples. You want to get together next week? I go, no, I'm almost out now, like of my supply. Like this guy's taking a little bit too long getting me some samples, and I'm struggling. I'm freaking out
Right.
about running out. So he's like, I'll bring him over Monday night. Sweet. All right, just bring him over before the show. So I get home. A few minutes later, he pulls up, and he brings me out. the samples that I would be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to show these. I mean, they were just horrible. The laser and the circles weren't circles. The laser marking was just
Was
I
it a
like
box? Was it a box press cigar proper meter?
yeah, it's octagonal. The ruler, I mean, was only like a 16th off, and it doesn't really make a difference if you're measuring a 5, 6, 7, 8 inch cigar. It doesn't matter if it's a 16th off or not, but it matters to me, because if someone puts a tape on there,
Sure.
oh, hey, this is wrong. And and I'm going through these 8 or so samples, and he's like, oh, he just wants you to pick out like the best. There's none. None of these are good. Why would he even give these to you? Because he has one of mine. He has a
Mhm.
one that I have. Like, why would you even bring these to me? And Jason was embarrassed kind of for me, and at the lack of quality. Like if someone asked me to do a project, and I would never give somebody this, and it's like, this is why I don't like dealing with small businesses sometimes. It's just like, so I had to get on the computer, reach out to my guy that I've been buying these from for 5 or 6 years now, and I'm like, Tom, I go, I have never asked you this ever. I need these to be on a rush. I go, I've never pushed. I placed my order. And sometimes
Mhm.
it takes longer than I like, but I don't ever say anything. I take it because the quality of this big company is second to none. And so he said, you know what? You've been great. We're going to take care of you. We're going to get this. I don't have the material in because it's not what they do regularly carry this. So he's going to push it through. And but yeah, it's just and it just makes me not want to go with these small businesses, just like they
Oh,
never they drag their feet, and then when they finally get you something, I'm like, this is what you brought me? Like, I could see if you didn't know what I wanted, but
yeah.
you have exactly what I have.
Yep.
You just make it the same. And it was just so
Especially
disappointing
when they
when
don't respond
they
back too. It's like, at some point, you get that attitude where you're like, listen, the last time I checked, I'm paying you.
yeah.
I'm trying to give you money. I'm trying to pay you, and you're acting like I'm expecting this for a family discount or something, or for free. And it's like, no, I just want to support local business. And you're like, you know what? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to do that.
It doesn't. And then Dr. Zachary, yeah, you got 100% got to have a side hustle these days. You gotta have something, especially, like this is all a side hustle for us. And I mean, I do well, Jessica does well, but I mean, this buys the extra stuff, the cigars and everything else. So it's nice having that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when people, like, I turn down so many jobs of, like, people find out, oh, you have a 3D printer, can you just print this, and it's just, then I got to go back and forth, and it's becoming too much. My last job, I said, I told him, I said, it's $100 to even start this process, $100 that you don't get back, and because lately it's been someone, hey, I want to have this made, all right, do you have a file? No. All right, so
Right.
so so I can't create these. I'm not the designer. I have a guy. So here's how this is going to go. It's going to go back and forth. And then once we come up with a design you like, I have to print this, and then I have to mail it to you.
Yeah.
And then you got to say, whether it works or not. And
And
then if it doesn't
it's
work,
not
we
paper. You're not
yeah,
printing
yeah,
on fucking pen. It's not construction paper. It's not. You gotta get the materials.
yeah, that's it. I got to get the material, and and then we print another one, and then I got to mail it to you. And then all of this can take a month, depending on how complicated this project is. And this whole time I'm working, like, this guy, he's got the easy part, the designer. He just designs it and sends it over. He works with me all the time, so I never have to pay him right up front, but yeah, I just got to the point. I don't want to work. I don't want to work for people anymore because some people don't know what they want, and it's
Mhm.
just, I just want this. And it's like, I don't know. I don't have time for this. I don't have to, yeah, I mean, I'm going to make a dollar or two on
Right.
these,
Yeah.
and you only want 12, and it's like, just,
Hey,
yeah,
my profit got spent when I stopped at Taco Bell on the
yeah,
way in between getting the materials.
yeah. So the last job I made a little bit of money on because I charged $100 for my time throughout this process, the design process, and it took some time. It took 3 or 4 revisions back and forth, mailing. And those mailing and all, and the actual 3D filament came out of that $100. So and then I made some money, but just the last few though I've turned down. Like, I don't have time. I don't have time for your fucking nonsense of not knowing what you want. Plus, like I remember doing a project years ago for the New England Cigar Militia, Kevin Parrow, and I couldn't do it. I bet I told him, I said 6 to 8 weeks for this project, and he had said something after like 3 weeks, and I'm like, and I hadn't even started it yet, and I'm like, you know what? I'm still within time. I farmed it out to another company. Just
Hmm.
farmed it out. I didn't make any money, but he got a fantastic product well within the timeline of we
Yeah.
originally quoted, and that was the last thing. And it was on when I was wood turning a lot of stuff, and that was the last project I ever took on like that. It's yeah.
Well, you
Now,
said something that's pretty interesting, Kevin. I think a lot of people miss this, and me being one of them, right? And it's you collect that $100 up front for your time, right? Regardless. I
yeah,
mean, there's going to be materials, there's going to be, the process, there's going to be this or that, and then you can sit there and say, okay, this is going to cost me, $50 to make, and you charge them, like you said, you're not going to make a lot of money on it, but if you have that upfront charge, that's when people are serious about things.
oh
And,
yeah,
and because I've done some consulting and stuff, with a couple lounges, and it's like, when you're trying to be nice, you're trying to be a good for, if you're friendly with people, or if you're trying to be nice, and you're like, no, no, hey, listen, I'll come down there. Especially when I have my own cigars, and I'm like, yeah, I can help you out. I can consult. I can give you some advice. I can connect you with a bunch of people within the cigar industry. I can, give you this, that. Here's my cigar, smoke them. I just ask that you carry my cigars. I'm not asking for a consulting fee. Or hey, can you do an event? Not really focused on the cigars, but
mhm,
maybe focus more on cigar education, tobacco education, and doing rolling and stuff like that. And you do it, and you're like, yeah, yeah, sure, it's not a problem. And it's like, you know what? I wish I'd have been like, yeah, that's gonna be $200, $150 or $100. Why? Well, that's my time. Because see, you're going to burn my ass now, because I come in, I give you advice on how to, stock your humidor. I'm going to give you some advice on some events. I'm going to give you a bunch of cards and names and numbers of people to connect that's going to help you become profitable. And then you don't bring my stuff in. Or I host an event. I spend, $50 in tobacco to come in to educate folks on the difference between wrapper, binder, filler. We smoke the wrapper, the binder, the filler. You do some rolling, and put them in molds the night before, and you give me some bullshit story on why you can't bring my stuff in. You know, it's if anybody goes out there, if they do any type of consulting, if you're, um, if you do a live show, or you do any type of broadcasting or events for we had a cigar shop, who had the grand opening. I did a live show for the grand opening, didn't charge them anything. It's like, you know what, get a fee, get it up front. If they pay you, great. If they don't, then they're not serious. Then it can really, in a lot of cases, I don't want to say 100%, but in a lot of cases, that will eliminate not only current but future headaches with those individuals, because they're not serious. They're trying to take advantage, and you can still give someone a good deal and give them a good product, whether it's a show, a cigar, woodwork, 3D printer. But at the end of the day, you have to secure some funds up front to see how serious people are.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And if they don't want, they're not serious, Brian.
Yeah, it's better not to have
Um,
it.
bottom fell. I got out of construction. I was a drywall finisher, and it was maybe 2001, 2002, and I got out of it when the Latin American people started coming inside to do drywall finishing. Before, everything was outside, landscaping, painting, stucco, roofs. They didn't want to come inside, and then when they come inside and it was just me and my partner, we would finish a house in 5 days. They would bring 15 guys and finish a house in 2 days or 3 days.
Mhm.
We saw the writing on the wall and we both got out
Yeah.
uh, quick. Going to welding school. Oh my God. I used to teach welding. That was fantastic. Anywhere in the world, you don't even have to speak the language. All you gotta do is if you can read a print as a welder, you can go anywhere on this earth and weld anything. It's just absolutely fantastic. And if you can tough it out west in the like on the pipelines, you can make crazy amount of money on the pipelines. And then we had a buddy that went underwater welding. We haven't seen him in like 5 years, but he's rich as all get out, only working 28 days on, 28 days off,
Oh, really?
so
Underwater welding?
yeah, underwater on uh, oil rigs. So dangerous
I was
work,
gonna
but
say, man, that's not freaking.
cr-
That's not a walk in the park. That's
yeah,
some
yeah,
28 days, man.
yeah. A $250,000 a year and only 28 on 20. But it's a dangerous job. Like I said,
Yeah.
there's a lot of 50 hours. I remember my first part-time job. Yeah, my side hustles have side hustles.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, it's never ending. Let's see. People often take the creative process for granted, and many lack the dedicated labor needed to fully realize their creative potential. Totally agree. And then getting back to your point, Care, of people that just want to take advantage of, like, you going to host an event. We get it all the time. People taking advantage of our social media
Mhm.
following, especially me. Now that my Instagram is really getting really big, I get it all the time. I went up to an event. I did an event for a friend, a manufacturer friend, maybe like 2 years ago, and he's like, "Hey, we'd like you to come up." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not too bad. It's only a 2 hour drive. It's a 4 hour event. I'll come up. I'll help you out. I'll promote it, and then we'll get to hang out and then smoke some cigars and have a good time." No, it was me working and talking about the cigars, and I smoked one cigar and I didn't even get any to take home with me. Not and it was a friend, but I'm like, bro, come on, give me a box of cigars. I
Yeah.
said I did all this promotion for you, beforehand, and I got one cigar. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I treat my friends better than that. But we get it all the time. It's
Especially if you're not getting
you know,
paid. I mean, that's
yeah, yeah, no, and
remember
that's
they
why what
always that's the thing with friends and family. It's always if you want to support your friend's business, buy from them. Don't ask for free shit.
that's it. It's why we stopped doing events, as many events as we used to, because we got tired of this. Oh, hey, just come to the event. We'll get you a free ticket. Well, it's out of state. I have to fly there or drive there. And then if I fly, I got to rent a car. I'm like, the event's $89 to get into, or it's $300 to get into. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I need? What do I need? A free $300 ticket and what? 20, 25 cigars. Like, I'll buy 25 cigars and stay home. Not
With that money with the
ha-
flight and the rent and the car, you could probably get a hell of a lot more than that.
I get a hell of a lot more than that. And then when I get home and everybody else is smoking their cigars, here I am expected to creating videos and posting about the event and doing all this. And it's like, you can get the hell out of here. I mean, we've done events where, like, you pay for my hotel, pay for the flight, pay for the event. I'll do everything else for free, 'cause especially if it's a really cool event. Like if I
Yeah.
go and have dinner on the USS New Jersey and you're paying me for all that, hell yeah, you don't have to pay me or give me. I'm like, that's a great event. I'm definitely, definitely coming to do that, and I'll do that at no charge. But you gotta,
Right.
you can't, some of these events you can't expect me to spend, $1,000 to come to your event for 25 cigars,
No.
or post pictures. It's like for a 5 pack of cigars. Hey, can you do this and this? Well, we're willing to send you a 5 pack. No, so cigar sounds good. How about I just buy it? What is that, like
Nope.
50 bucks? 50 bucks. I'll just buy the 5 pack. If that'll help
Right.
you out. It's like
Yeah.
it's better than that. Jessica's had a few people reach out and they'll send her like, and she's the boutique girl. We all know that she loves boutique cigars. She says yes to everybody. And then every now and then, like someone will, she'll, do get a 5 pack, and then like they'll send her a check for like $100. And she's like, oh my God. She goes, thank you, and they're like, you went above and beyond
Hmm.
what we would even envision that you would do for us. And, they compensated her. So
Well, that's what it's all about, and that's appreciating the value. It's if some folks, a lot of folks don't understand the value, then you gotta have to explain the value to them, right? And then
yeah.
you have to create. It's some folks that they don't get it, so you almost have to create the value and not create it in a false sense, like you see a lot of these folks that'll be, our show's seen in 38 countries and blah. It's having real value, and I know a lot of what you do and what Jessica does, and going to these events and just being able to take pictures and posting them and building awareness to it. Um, there's a lot of value there, and when you talk about advertisement, how much, if you would break down how much advertisement you would do on a for an event, pictures, videos, clips, whatever the case may be, and then say, okay, great. Now go to an advertising agency and see what they're going to charge you to do this.
Yeah, and our in our niche here, Jessica and I, the one thing that we have going for us, it's not our big following between the two of us. It's it's people know us, so you've got you got YouTube channels that are way bigger than us, Instagram channels way bigger than us. But I've often said, like,
Yeah, but
if
they're
you
usually
took,
nude, though, right?
yeah, yeah, if you took like 12 of like the biggest Instagram and YouTube channels, and you took that personality, and then you included us in there, and then put them in a grid and put them in 12 different Facebook groups, and then ask people to name all those people in that grid. 99% of those groups, everybody be able to pinpoint either both Jessica and I, or at least one and I, and they'd be, oh, that's Kevin from Cigar Prop. That's Jessica. That's Jessica. They
Mhm.
may not know Jessica from Cigar Prop. It's Jessica. So these people that have these big YouTube channels and seen in 38 countries, you know, um, yeah, try and get people to know
Yeah,
who they are. Like we're going down to the Great Smoke this weekend, and it's a fun event for the most part. It's a lot of work. I miss the majority of it, because all we do is take pictures. I mean, from the moment we get there and we get into the tailgating party outside, everybody flocks. Oh, they want pictures, and that's really what our job is at the Great Smoke, is to take pictures. It just and greet people, and see how they're doing, and making sure they're having a good time, and that's it. So
yeah.
I mean, we get a lot of cigars, don't worry. I mean, it's only a couple hour drive for us, so that the crew makes sure
It's not that hard of a struggle.
yeah, it's not that hard of a struggle, but yeah, I mean, one day I'd like to put on a full Comic-Con costume and just go there and like, hey, I wonder where Kevin's at, and it's just get to see everything and have a good time. But
Maybe you could have Boothie dress you up one
yeah,
event.
yeah,
You could just dress
yeah,
up and just hang out with Boothie.
that's it. Yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, but like I said, doing events like that for Abe and Smoke Inn, that comes around tenfold,
Yeah,
always. So,
it's good
but yeah,
people.
yeah, but these small businesses, especially the small businesses in the cigar industry, they don't know what they're doing. And they need to hire people. They need to look into social media. People that I'm sure, Karen, you and I are going to PCA. Jessica and I were there last. She dragged me to this one booth. They didn't have a website. They didn't have an Instagram. They didn't have anything. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I do want to help them, but we have a sponsor for these videos. Like nobody's going to watch this video, when I put the title, and nobody did. Like out of all the videos we did, the interviews, that got the least amount of views because nobody knew who they were. But Jessica keeps me grounded, and forces me, like, because we were small at one time as well, so she does that. She reminds me of that quite often. And
Well,
but
you
but
always got to
the
remember where you come from. I think you're pretty good at that. You know,
yeah,
I think
but
what frustrates you is when I think what frustrates you is when um, even after you advise someone on some things that they need to change that would help them, and they don't follow it. At that point, the yes they're new, yes they're this, yes they're that, kind of goes out the window because and I've talked to you, you've given me advice, and I hope I've been able to impart some words of wisdom to you as well. But the thing is, it's don't be an asshole. You know, those people who ask questions and ask for help, and then they don't follow through on anything because they don't want to, they don't like the answer that they get.
yeah,
And that's the tough part. Even with newer companies, it's like, yeah, like you said, if you roll over there, they don't have a website, they don't have a presence, and we've been on the show, and I know you've talked to folks. It was like you don't have a freaking X or a Twitter account. You need to get one now. What happens? A couple days later, they got one because they listened to what you had to say. Other folks like, well, I don't have the time, and that's where it's like, okay, well, if you don't have the time, then maybe you need to start thinking about what you're doing because it's you're not helping yourself. So you can't expect me to help you when you're not checking the boxes on everything you could be doing to help yourself and your business.
yeah. In 2025, there's so much information available for everybody. If you own a business, if you have any type of side hustle, you need to be doing social media. That's it. You have to be doing social media. There's no excuse not to be doing social media. People are like, "Oh, I don't know how to start." There's YouTube. Just start. Just YouTube search, what should my small business be doing on social media? And then just learn.
Hmm.
It's people that and it's not about growth, it's just about getting your name out there, and just doing it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I know just with our business too. I mean, it's when you're working a full time job and you're doing
Yeah.
everything else, it ain't easy making sure you get pictures out there and stuff. But I mean, it's the best. I think the best reward is always when someone does ask you a question, they do follow your advice, and you start seeing them doing well. I mean, that's I think very self rewarding. It's very fulfilling, and it also lets you know that there's folks out there who don't feel like they know everything, and also be honest with yourself. Like you said, if you can't afford, then find a way to do what you can do with what you have. You know, I would never dissuade anybody from going into any business they want to, especially in the cigar business. If they're like, hey, listen, I got a full time job, I want to start my own cigar company. Okay, great. I mean, God bless you. If that's what you want to do. I'm not going to be some snob who's saying, you shouldn't be doing that with a full time job. It's a hobby. No, if you want to do it, do it. But make sure that you have a really clear understanding of how you want to do it and what you hope to accomplish. Because if your expectations exceed your ability, or your means, then you're going to fall short.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and like you said, I love it when people take your advice. Robert Caldwell, absolutely crushing it on Instagram right now. Love his videos, love his vibe, what he's doing. And when I saw him at PCA a couple of years ago, I had my equipment, had my setup, and he talked to me for a few minutes. His wife was there, and he asked me some questions. I'm like, okay, I don't know, but there's another guy in the cigar industry. Like I said, let me have you reach out to him. And Tim Long, who we had on last week,
Hmm.
you can ask Tim some of those questions. I can help you out. And Robert just took with it and ran. And now, I mean, his videos getting tons of views, doing a great job. and then he got bought out by whatever company. So,
Mhm.
and I feel slighted because I didn't get any part of that money. And I'm the reason that Robert Caldwell is a success. No, it's but no, but
Kevin,
yeah.
sometimes you will receive total consciousness on your deathbed. That's what you'll receive.
So I got that going for me. But yeah, so but he knew he needed to do it, and then he went out and he did it. And then over the last couple of years, I've just been amazed at like the companies that reach out to us, like that aren't in the cigar business, but I've had cigar friends that work at like these giant companies. I mean, massive companies, and their social media team will reach out to me, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, you have a social media team. Like, what are you reaching out to me for? And, and then to give them advice. And I take completely credit or take all the credit from my company, Tires Plus. I mean, owned by Bridgestone. I mean, we're the biggest of the biggest when it comes to, tire and rubber companies. And they're crushing it on social media right now with all the cool videos they're doing and everything else. And so I had to talk with them. Like, and I go, your social media sucks. It's like what do you guys like? Who do you guys? You have a team. Why are you guys doing this garbage content? And they buckled down. They saw some of the stuff I was doing on the tech tip stuff, and now they've just taken what I can only dream of doing some of the stuff that they're doing now. And just because when you have a billion-dollar company behind you, you can afford the camera, the lighting, the edits, the video, and
Well,
everything
they gotta
else.
throw some of that your way and tell them to do the tech tip. Sponsored by.
Yeah, sometimes I curse and I say some things I don't like, so I don't even tag them in my post anymore. So because
See
there's
that
gonna be that one, because
you
there's
get
gonna be
some
that
money. You gotta get less cursey, Kev.
yeah, there because there's gonna be that one video. So I'm like, I can't believe Tires Plus supports this guy. Look at what he said about old people, and but yeah. Oh,
I had this
speaking of
one
old,
guy, one person came in. Her fucking car was like a garbage can.
I had an old guy today. It's at the end of my day. I'm hustling to get my work done before the end of the day, and he pulls up behind my bay and he gives a little tap tap of the horn, trying to get our attention. I'm like, not doing it. Not going out. Get out of your car. If you have a question, get out of your car and come ask us. About 30 seconds later, another tap tap on the horn. I'm like, I'm few. And then because now the other techs are looking, I go, no, nobody do it. Like he's behind my bay. So
Hmm.
nobody, so another 30 seconds, tap tap, threw my wrench on the ground, walked out there. Is there something I can help you with? Yeah, I need to get my oil checked. And I go, and you think tapping your horn was the proper way of doing it? It's just like snapping your fingers at a waiter. And I mean, he wasn't an old frail guy, he was an older guy, and he goes, well, I can't get out of the car. And I go, how'd you get in the car? And then
With assistance, you heartless bastard, you.
so he goes, I just need my oil checked. And I go, well, to work on your car, especially underneath the hood, I have to have a ticket. So I can be properly, we're insured and everything else. And he goes, I'm just I'm just gonna take my business elsewhere. And I go, what business? You didn't want to spend any money here. So go and not spend any more money anywhere else either. So I just walked away. And
Make
I
sure
was
you tap
just,
that horn at the next place you go.
that's it. Because we're coming to the season of it's hot out. Watch your tone. Here in Florida, it's getting to be that
Oh
season.
yeah.
Watch your fucking tone because I'm hot and I'm sweaty and I'm taking everything personally. So
Oh, that's great. The beep beep by the freaking bay.
oh yeah, that's brutal, man. We hate that.
I can imagine, dude.
Yeah, and most people know, like in our town, like we have like one bay, like you just pull up behind. That's all you have to do. Just pull up, and sometimes it's 10 seconds, sometimes it's 2 or 3 minutes, but we know what you want. We know you need some air in your tires. all you have to do is just give us a few minutes, and we all know that. And we'll go out there, we put air in your tires, have a nice day, or hey, this one's really low, you might have something in it. But yeah, just tapping that horn, as a bartender, when I managed a bar, and it was the finger snap at the end of the bar. I'm like, yeah, you're never getting served ever.
No,
Like
no,
I will go. I just completely ignore you. Not doing it.
yeah.
So
And
I
you're working on cars, not like food servers. You got someone maybe just pulling up to a fast food, pull to Taco Bell, just blowing on the horn. It's like, yeah,
oh
do not eat that food.
yeah, exactly. And I've been watching a lot of videos lately. Servers, they're really feeling the tip pinch, because people are boycotting tipping because it's become too much. And now the wait staff at like restaurants, that's where they make their money, tips. That's
Yeah,
where, people are like, what, I'm done with this. I'm done with this everywhere. And I watch a video of someone checking out online at like a Walmart, Target, whatever, online, and they got to the final screen and it asked for a tip. And they were being mailed a package. It wasn't like pickup. Like they
yeah,
were being, yeah, it was being mailed a package, and they asked for a tip to help, like, whatever staff. I forget what it was, warehouse staff, whatever. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, it's but yeah,
hmm
it
yeah.
it's
Would you like
tough.
to here? It's like,
They spin.
would you like to tip? What the spinning that wrist
I
action? That's
I
10%.
I was at a cigar lounge, and I've never been back. A friend of mine is a manager there, and luckily it's a few hours away, anyways. But yeah, so we were hanging out, bullshitting. Went into the humidor. I picked out a couple of cigars. We were just bullshitting back and forth, and I picked out one that he had recommended, and then got up to the front, and then um, flipped it around, and I'm like, "Are you shitting me? Are you kidding right now?" What is it? So I did the 10%, whatever the minimum was, and I fucking sucked it up, because he's a friend of mine. And it's just like, are you shitting me right now? You're gonna flip that goddamn screen around.
Yeah.
You manage this place, and we have one, my buddy Ace runs a Heritage, and always make sure I get the members discount, even though I'm not a member. They actually made me an honorary member, so I get my 15% off or whatnot. And then so I'm always making sure I'm tipping the bartender, and I make sure I take care of the bartender.
Yeah.
But yeah, but not when they don't even flip that fucking screen around, because I would have words with him if there was a
No.
screen to flip around. And it's different, like when Jessica worked at Corona, like a lot of those tobacconists, like
They
she
spend
put in
time
some.
with you.
So I mean, if
Yeah,
she
yeah.
put in, she'd put in, a half an hour if you didn't know, and walk you around the
Yeah.
store, and all those do. And then they had a tip section. They didn't flip it around. It was just you swipe your card, and then it was on that terminal, as it should be. You
Yeah.
know, yes, no, and she did good in tips. Everybody did good in tips there. And the more time you spent, obviously the bigger the tip was. If someone came in and went right to the shelf, picked up their two cigars and came up, there wasn't anybody that was expecting anything. Like we
No.
didn't we didn't we didn't do anything for them. We
No.
didn't cut,
No.
we didn't light, we didn't do anything. You know, um, but yeah, so there's a time and place for that. But
Especially a cigar
yeah,
shop. I mean, if you have a good tobacconist that spends time with you and helps you, and I'll even tip someone if they just spend time and I don't. If I'm asking questions and do you have anything new? No, we got this. If they're gonna spend some time with me and then respect the fact that I just kind of want to be on my own and meander around, they're making an effort. I'll give them a tip. I mean, I think that's it's worthy of it. It's they're doing their job. It's the ones that sit there like, well, let me know if you need anything. Let me know if you have any questions.
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Most of my tipping at a line, like when I go out of town, I always make sure I bring cash. I don't ever have cash on me. But it's the ones that are attentive. Like you went in, you bought the cigar yourself. there's no
Mhm.
option for tipping. I mean, lots of cigar lounges, there's no option. They have like a little tip jar that you can put money into. And the ones that are attentive, hey, can I get you anything to drink? Yeah, can I get a Diet Coke? And then they're like, hey, do you need another Diet Coke? Something I can do for you? They'll make sure your ashtray's always cleaned, and
Mhm.
it's just them being, just a running a good business.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get, I'm like, that's great service.
Oh
Here's
yeah.
$5. Here's
Oh
five
yeah.
bucks because I didn't have to get up to come ask you for another Diet Coke,
100%,
or
man.
you know,
The guys at Boda Cigars, Boda Pipe Cigars, I get an opportunity. Sometimes they'll run it through and they'll freaking do everything and they won't let me tip.
yeah,
You
that
know, and they're fucking I tell you what, that's a great shop, man. Just great shop, great people. Just all around. Their employees, the owner, just the manager, everybody there is so great. They're helpful. And especially if you're a regular or you're there supporting them or you're there promoting and stuff like that. And they've always supported me with my brand. They're like, yeah, you know, ran it through. Well, you want to tip? No, no, you're good. Especially if the owner would bring me up. He's like, no, no, you're good.
yeah, we used to have one local lounge, and we'd go. We us and the guys would go there 5 days a week, and then I'd probably go there maybe 2 days a week, and but sometimes they would come out, with new cigars, like
Hmm.
so and so sent us these. And like all the, especially if it was a small crowd and it was just us regulars, they'd go around and, hey, here's a couple cigars. They would tip us,
Yeah,
because we're supporting them. We're, coming in there, buying cigars, buying drinks. And so I mean they would tip us, and that was and that's how you treat customers nowadays. So many businesses are treating customers. It's like it's an honor for you to step foot in my establishment.
yeah,
You should be thankful that we're here to provide service for you. And it's like, yeah, there's 1,000 other places I could go, with
yeah,
that, with that attitude.
yeah.
And yeah,
Or there's a bunch of people working and they have one person working the register and there's like four people. I have my and Jennifer, you can do. She says too. Is we go to GameStop, pick up stuff for the kids at GameStop or even my nephew. It's like you have three or four people working. I don't know what you're doing. You have this one person on a register. You got a line of five, and there's always someone at the register going, "Yeah, here's my card, here's my membership." Yeah, I was wondering what can I get for this Miss Pac-Man? How much is this? But and then you're sitting there going, why? What are you the other three people doing? Someone else
yeah,
man a register. Help out. Help this person out because right now you got a line of really pissed off people. And honestly, I'm not going to sit in line here for an $8 freaking packet of freaking Mario socks.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's brutal. Walmart's like that. Like when you go to like the self checkout like kiosk, like our Walmart, sometimes they'll have, I don't know, what is it, like 8 or 10 self checkouts, but they'll have like 4 or 5 employees congregating, like directing people. This one's open. This one's
Yeah,
open. I'm like, why don't you just open some damn registers?
yeah.
Like why do we need all these people here just pointing to where the
So,
open red? Yeah,
uh, so
yeah,
yeah, come over.
yeah. Oh, it's fucking
It's funny, isn't
brutal.
it?
It is. We actually had one of our the store manager of AutoZone come in today, and she had a gaggle of new employees with her, drivers and people, um, and she came in and showing them, like when you pull up to like the shops, like where you're supposed to park and where you drop the parts off and everything else. And I looked at her and I go, "Hey, I got a bone to pick with you." And she's like, "Yeah, what's up?" I go, "You remember 3 weeks ago when you were in?" And it was a Friday, and I said, "Hey, I'm working Sunday. Are you guys going to have a driver?" And you said, "I'll put a driver on just for you because I sell a lot of stuff. We're going to typically on a Sunday, all they do is oil changes and tires. But
Mhm.
if I'm working, we can do everything, brakes, AC, you name it, gaskets, plugs, tune ups." And she goes, "Yeah, I put a driver on." I go, "I called that morning just to double check that there was going to be a driver on. And they said nobody would be delivering parts today. They didn't have enough people." She was fuming. And she goes, "I specifically told all of them that one person had to drive for you guys all day." And I go, I gave all my business to Advanced Auto Parts because they're literally across the street. So we just
Mhm.
walk across. We just walk across the road, and I go. I spent $4,000 that Sunday, and
Oh,
yeah, and she was just so livid, just because these kids, nobody wants to work anymore.
you get
Nobody wants.
you get an extra Diet Coke from them?
I told her, I said, one Diet Coke is all that it's going to make up for it. I go, bring me a Diet Coke in the next day
Cold.
or two. And I told her, I said, better be in a can too. None of this fucking plastic bottle bullshit. It better be a cold ass Diet Coke. So I'm waiting. I'm gonna see if she follows through. But it's these kids at these places, be it Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, AutoZone, whatever. Like I said, they just they act like it's a privilege. Like you came in and you should be
And they don't
thankful that
care.
we're here. They
They don't
don't
care if you
care.
get pissed off. It's like I remember, man, when I worked at Burger King, and and it was like, you're a kid, you're gonna fuck off, you're not gonna pay
Yeah,
attention.
yeah,
But if a customer came up and they got pissed off, you got nervous. You're like, oh shit, like they're
oh
and
yeah,
then and you're like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You're like, God damn, I hope they don't freaking complain, because then all of a sudden you're worried about the manager finding out, then the regional manager. Um, and now it's just like they don't care.
it's because they know that it's so hard to fill a job position. Like we have it in our company. Kids, they don't care. Slack off, call in, show up late, and we've heard them say, "What are you going to do? You can't find anybody. You said it took 6 months to find me. Like what are you going to do? Fire me?" And it's like, no, we're not, because a we're a giant company, so we can't fire you because we have this whole line of people, that we have to go through. And at the end of the day, you know what they do? They transfer you to another store. They call it transfiring. We'll
Yep,
just transfer you to someone else. And
transpiring. That's funny.
yeah, that's what we call it, transfiring. But yeah, they know it, so they can do whatever they want.
Ours,
Yeah, hey, can
ours
you do this? No, and it's like, yeah, nothing I can do.
back in a
We only
couple of God, I'm sorry. But
I said we
you're
only had one guy. I was on vacation when they hired him, and my first day back, we almost got into it, like swinging, like we almost got into it, and he was like a 55-year-old guy, and then
Hey, 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 hey,
yeah, yeah,
hey, hey, I still got hands.
yeah, but he was at like an oil change monkey, at his age, so which is, I mean, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that if he was able to do his job.
Right.
But within an hour of me being there, and he'd already been there a week, he couldn't do his job. And that guy, at the end of the day, I called up my area manager. I go, it's him or me. I go, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Either move him somewhere else, fire him, but I'm not working with this guy because I knew it. I've been doing this 25 years. I knew what
Mhm.
was going to happen, and so they shit canned him and send him to transfired him to
Transpired
another
them.
yeah, to another store, and I instantly, because I only knew the one other store that needed help, and I called that manager right away and be like, "Hey, here's what's going on. Here's what you need to do to fire this guy." And that guy lasted a couple days and he quit. Yeah, so, but
I worked for a few companies that they always used to promote their problems away.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate old man strength, or an old man with nothing to lose, bro, will fuck you up. And
I know,
but
right, Brian? I'm sitting here. I feel like I'm getting, I'm gonna transfire Kevin here. He's age discriminating when he starts throwing out, age is like he was a 55-year-old man. I'm like, whoa, you're hitting a little too close to home now, Kev. I'll be double nickel this year.
yeah, so we had a kid years ago, Brandon, and he's actually a really good tech now, at another store. We hated to lose him, but he needed to be promoted. Um, and then we got a new kid that's only been with us for about 3 weeks, doing a fantastic job. And he'll be a good tech someday, a couple years down the road. He had less experience than Brandon, but Brandon said it, and this new kid had said it after his 2 weeks, and because they usually give me, at least the ones with some potential, they give to me, to make sure they
Mhm.
they get trained right. And the kid said it after a second or third week, like, how do you do it, man? Like you're working on 3 times the amount of cars I am. I'm half your age. Like, how are you just doing it? And I always say, like Brian said, old man strength. And
Yeah.
I go, old men have already figured out how to not waste time. And I try and teach these kids on how to save steps. I don't walk across a shop 10 times. I walk across shop once. I get everything I need, parts or whatever, and then I come back and I don't go back over that way. It's working around a car, knowing
It's the
what you
wisdom.
have to do, knowing what your 3 steps ahead of you is. And I go, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
working on 3 times the car, but I'm taking, I'd love to have like the step meter on me and someone I'm training, and I guarantee they take 10 times the amount of steps in an average day.
It's working
That that that,
smarter.
that,
You
that,
know,
that
working smart.
that's it. And then I always tell people, like, you want to figure out the easiest way to do a job, give it to somebody with an injury. Like me, a bad back or a bad knee. Like, hey, I need you to figure out the most efficient way to do this. I'm like, I got you. Because it's not going to take me very long, and I will tell you the most efficient way. Like when there's a tire laying on the ground, I don't bend over and pick up the tire. I've learned how to kick that tire or step on it at the right angle to where it pops up, and then just
Right.
kick it to where you want it to go. Like, I don't bend over, just you snap it up and then you kick it, and then it just goes where you want to go. I don't have to bend over,
It's that
pick it up,
wisdom, Kev.
wheel it, or carry it, But yeah, it's because I'm an old man and I'm tired and I'm broken. So I figured out how to do it in the most
Exactly.
efficient way.
It's not old man strength at that point. It is all about the wisdom that you bring and you learn. And it's like, listen, you know, there's a there's your way of doing this, and here's the right way of doing it. It's and the reason why I know the right way is because I've been in your shoes, I've done it your way, and I've already processed the fact that that is not the right way. You
Yeah,
know,
now every now and then it's a rarity. We'll get a kid that comes in and we'll learn something from him. Like he'll do something a different way, especially if he's worked at another shop. It's like, oh hey, it's like I like how you did that. And there's been some times I've, done something a different way, because I'm able to, learn. And that's what sets, some good technicians, anybody good in any job, is their ability to change. Like, oh hey, I see what you're doing there. That
yeah,
is a little bit more.
you're never you're always learning.
Yeah, you should always be able to accept that there is a
100%.
better way of doing it. I mean, you've probably seen, 100, young cats come and go in your job. And that, like I said, they've, why don't we do it this way? It seems to be better. No, that's dumb. Yeah, we tried that 10 years ago. That
Yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
work.
but it is funny you say that because I do approach everybody, no matter how much experience you have, how old you are, or what whatever case may be. I always try and learn something from that person. Most of the times, it is learning something. It, uh, it's not only what you learn from that person, what from how they're doing or what they're doing it, but sometimes you learn how to deal with different people. So you're learning that it's self learning, but I still chalk that down as learning a new skill or sharpening a skill. And sometimes you learn what not to do from folks. I mean, that's your best, right? They tell you your best teacher is losing, and sometimes your best manager is the worst manager you've ever had because you learn a lot of what not to do. But I've always been in a very fortunate situation where I've worked with folks where um, I've learned something of skilled from them, or if like when you pray for patience or you pray for something, um, God isn't the fairy godmother who's going to sprinkle some freaking patient fairy dust on you, and then all of a sudden, poof, you're patient. It's bringing things into your life that make you have to be patient. That really exercises that muscle or pushes those boundaries where you have to exercise patience, or you have to, employ a different technique or a different process. And then when the smoke clears, you're like, well, crap, that sucked, but I am more patient than I ever thought I was. And you don't realize that your prayers are being answered because it just wasn't like, hey, I need help with my bills. God, make me win the lottery. And then you win the lottery. And it's just really easy to kind of chalk it down like that. Most of it is really, um, it's not only what you learn from someone, but it's also what you learn about yourself when you're dealing with someone. And I mean, as you said, sometimes we learn there's certain personalities that just rub you the wrong way that you're just gonna you either got to learn how to deal with them, or you get them transpired. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I work with a guy now. We don't get along, but we don't talk. We don't interact. It's just and that's just the way it is. But we also know, that there have been times where I've needed a hand with something. Not that I don't know how to do it, but it's just like you need a second person to hold this, or you need something
right?
to do. And then we both know that, even though we really don't like each other, um, we work in a shop. It's all for the greater good of the company. So if I needed something and nobody else was available, even a customer, I would go up to him and be like, "Hey, I need your help for a second?" And he's just, "Yeah, not a problem."
Yeah, you don't
Same
have to
thing with,
like someone, right?
yeah. So the same thing with him. He's, if he has an issue with something, um, it just he knows he can come to me, and as a absolute last resort, if there's nobody else around, I will help him. There've been so many times and I've mentioned this on my tech tips because I'm the old grumpy man in the shop. And you'll hear the kids on the other side of the shop. You go ask them. No, you go ask them. And so many times over the years, and then I'll be like, "What the fuck do you want?" We need help with something. So you storm over and you just do it. It's done. They've been battling something for like a half an hour, a
That's
gaggle of
great.
them. So you walk over there, you do it in 5 seconds, and then you just walk away. And
Well,
but you can't be too nice because then they ask all the time, and then they
yeah,
don't learn.
yeah. You got to keep
So
that the fear of asking. You got to keep that fresh.
you got to ration out the fucks you have to give, because I have very limited amount every day. I start every day with a very small amount, and I can't give them all out at the beginning. I got,
It's got
and then
percentages.
and then at the end of the day they all go away. So they don't, if I have any left over, those don't go till tomorrow.
But
Those are
it's
those are those are the gone.
you've seen the Benghazi movie, right?
No, I haven't. I
You ever
need
seen that?
to. I
Have
mean,
you
I
have
yeah.
you ever have you ever seen any of the interviews with the guys?
Oh yeah, I know like the whole story and
Yeah,
what really went down, and I've
yeah,
heard all. Like I said, I was on with Ryan's show with Oz, and so I know all the story from all
yeah.
the guys, but I really do want to see the movie because it looked like a good movie.
Yeah, it actually it's well done, and those guys were really kind of spoke. They did speak to how it was pretty much true to what happened. But when you listen to their interviews, right? You know Tonto Peranto,
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah,
the, the- um, he and one of the other guys, I can't remember who was Oz. They didn't like each other. They didn't get along.
yeah.
When
Yep.
you when they interview these
Oh, I
guys,
don't know if it was those two. I knew there was like a,
it
a, a
was
couple guys in there.
it,
Yeah.
it was Tonto and I think it was Oz. They just didn't get along. Um, but they're like, and then what's funny is when you hear their interviews, they're like, yeah, I met this guy who's an operator, super nice guy, someone I'd love to hang out with, have a beer with. I don't want to be in a fight with him. This
Yeah. Oh
person
yeah.
here, great dude. But this was like, hey, yeah, you say what you want about Peranto. He's like, you're not my favorite guy. He's like, but in that moment, it's like, that's the person who I want to be with. You know, day to day stuff, I can't stand you. You're an asshole. You're a freaking loudmouth. Hey, you're this, that. But when it comes down to getting the job done, it's like I definitely want to be by that guy. And it's really interesting when you talk about that dynamics where um, when you take and I think sports right now in the professional realm is a little too ridiculous, but I know, even when I play, it's like, you may not like a particular person, but when you're on the field and you all have a common goal, you know, you work well together. You know, when you have the folks in the military, you may not like one another, but if you're both really good at your job, you can work well together. And then you get into the working world, and it's like that is so unappreciated, and it's not understood and embraced, you know. And it's like if you would just learn that you don't necessarily have to like me, but I'm pretty good at what I do, and I think that you know, we could do well if we work well together. But you know, you don't understand that concept because you've never been in a situation where you had to be side by side with someone who you really didn't care for too much, but you had to go to battle with that person and trust in one another.
Yeah, you know, our every store manager I've had when they're usually interviewing. I remember our old store manager Luke when I was at a different store when they'd hire someone new. He'd take them and introduce them to everybody in the shop, and he would try his best not to introduce them to me or my buddy Robert, who still works for the company. But every now and then you had to, you know, on their first day, and he was like, "This is Kevin. This is Robert. Do your best to not make them mad. Um, but listen to what they say because they're good at what they do, and these are the best guys that I have, you know." And but yeah, it's just try not to make us mad, and that's it, you know. And then but what we've had, even now, my current store, you know, a new guy will come. Oh, Kevin's being mean to me, or Kevin said this, and it's always Kevin. It's never anybody else. It is 100% Kevin. Um, and
Mhm.
Mike could be like, "Yeah, just try not to make him mad. Stay away
Yeah,
from him."
and don't
You
say
know,
that.
yeah, don't, yeah, don't. And then Mike will always tell me that afterwards. Hey, new Jack says you're being mean to him. Like, what's going on? I'm like, he's dumb. He's dumb. That's what's going on. And but yeah, it's brutal. And then the new kids like they always trying to be mechanics and always spending way much more time, you know, like the guy that I don't get along with. You know, I try and tell him every now and then when he's struggling to do a job. And I'm like, man, why did you take this? Just give it to someone else. You know, oh, you know, I'm not giving away my money. I'm not giving away my money. It's always the same thing. Not giving away my money to somebody else. And they're like, you know how much jobs guy give away to like me and Eric, my other lead tech, you know, we trade jobs all the time. I hate doing bearings on cars. Like they're
Mhm,
just a motherfuck. And you know, if it you know, usually they pay 2 or 3 hours, he'll do it in 15 minutes. It'll take me 2 or 3 hours, whatever it is,
mhm,
because it's just a tough job. You know, other jobs he hates doing, you know, and he knows I'm really fast. And he's like, "Hey, Kevin, they sold this job. Do you want this? Yeah, I'll bang that out for you." You know, like, "Hey, Eric, you know, they sold this. I don't want to do it." He's like, "Yeah, I got you, man." You know, and that's one thing the kids don't seem to learn anymore. It's just when someone else is better than you at something, admit it. You
yeah,
know, I'm not too proud to admit that I don't know how to do something, or I'm not very good at it, and
right,
just pay. You know, give it to someone else that's what their expertise is.
100%, man. So let me ask you this, Kevin. Since we're in the world of mechanics conversation, you've been a mechanic for how long?
God, I don't know. I always say 25 years, but I've been saying 25 years since for a long time. So
Kevin,
I'm
how
just
long have you been a mechanic?
let's see.
Come on, give me a fucking number. I don't want to hear how
I'll give you
you
a number. First of all, I need to figure
first
out.
fell in love with a
First of
freaking
all, I
craftsman.
need to figure out how old I am. So I'm 47. Um, minus so going on probably 30 years. So
Professionally, right?
professional. I would say professionally, I am probably right at 25 years. I spent like the first 4 or 5 years learning as I should be. You
Right,
know,
and prior
as
to that
well.
was just a passion of just
Yeah, just before that.
fucking
Oh yeah,
around.
definitely, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
tinkering like you did with cars and everything
yeah.
else.
But
I'd say 25 years I've been a
right,
professional mechanic.
right. But it does span a larger period of time when you put in learning and then also the passion when you really
Your
first started
passion.
messing
Yeah.
around. So we'll just say 33 years. Okay. Within those 33 years, what area would you say is your area of expertise? If you were to say all the work that you've done on cars and the work that you, not what you like to do, This isn't a what does Kevin like. It's what area do you feel, and you can't say everything. So what area do you feel is your strong suit where you would be considered someone to be an expert or very good at? Like my grandfather, the grandfather, right?
Yeah.
He obviously back in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and so on, he was known. He was a very, very sought after diesel mechanic. You talk about back in those
Yeah.
days, knew his way around diesel engines. Really, really solid. That was his gig. What is your thing?
I don't have one. It's not everything.
All that fucking for that answer?
Yeah, yeah, it's not everything. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm very good in a lot of things. I'm very bad in
Did I
electrical.
misuse the word expert? Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. Do not do the Dwight Schrute where you're going to give me what you're bad at to kind of spin it into a strength. That doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it's not.
I,
No, it's not. It's
what?
not a strength. You don't
What?
want me working on electrical on a car.
Right.
That is not my thing. I will screw your car up.
And maybe I misused the word expert, much like the word master blender is overused.
Yeah.
But what area do you think you're very solid in? Like, what is an area that you are like you can get it done? Like you said, this guy does bearings. He does a great job. He can get it done quickly. That's his area that he's pretty solid in. What's yours?
I'm being 100%. There isn't one. I really. So okay. So yeah. No, I would say
Brakes? Are you good at brakes?
but no, my expertise is tires. So I'm fascinated with tires and how tires
Okay.
are made. So I know tires. I know the proper way. And like I said, for a lead technician and a shop to say, I love tires. That's something a new kid should know is tires. But I
Hmm.
know tires. I know lubrications. I know oil. I studied oil. I used to teach classes for Pennzoil, so I know. I work with Kevin. He's all about tough love. He won't call you if you listen. He'll push you to be your best. Yes, I will. I will try and push you to be your best. Um,
He's not
I
being
you know,
modest.
but I really don't have like there isn't something like that I'm like an expert in or I just have a lot of general knowledge. I would say my strength is knowing the industry, knowing like where the industry is going, um, how things should be done, how things shouldn't be done. But like, am I an expert in brakes? I mean, no. I mean, I'm really good at brakes. I
Are
can
you?
do. I'm
Are you really good at brakes?
yeah, but I'm not an expert. There are things that I still get wrong.
Okay.
On
Because
occasion.
because 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 on Jennifer's car, I want. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I guess I would say if there isn't a thing I'm expert, it's preventative maintenance. Only because I spent so much time in the quick lube industry, starting off as just an oil monkey in a basement draining oil to being the general manager of several locations. Um,
Yes,
yeah,
Kevin knows a
yeah.
lot about rubbers on lube.
So, but
He's
yeah,
modest.
I think I think I'm the type of guy that you really want working on your car because I'm just good at a lot of things. I'm not great at everything,
Hmm.
but I know a lot, So like I said, other than electrical, I really don't know electrical. It's just not my thing at all. So yeah, I can admit that I'm not an expert at anything. I just know kind of a lot about a lot of things.
But tires, you're passionate. You know tires.
I'm passionate about tires. I'm passionate about lubrication, oil, really passionate about oil. People really should be using Pennzoil. It really is the best that there is. So, but yeah, that's it. Not,
Interesting.
yeah, not claiming when I don't know something, I'll admit that I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I know how it should be done. I've read all about how that should be done, but I don't know how to do it. but I'll point you
Mhm.
to a guy that can do it. Maybe that's my expertise is I can get the job done for you, even though I might not be able to do the job myself.
Wow. Okay.
So
Well, thank you for
yeah,
that answer. I was
yeah,
it rubber's oil and lube. It sounds
yeah. That's it.
listen, if that's your gig, right? No, I was always curious because we talk a lot about cars, and you are very knowledgeable. And then when you have, like you said, guys in a shop, or gals or men or women, you have mechanics, that there is always something that that people like to do, but then there's because it's their comfort zone. But then there's some folks who are like, listen, go talk to that person. They really they know their shit on transmissions. I could do this, I could do that, but that person knows everything about transmissions. They are
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And I can tell you out of all of our stores that we have in our general area, out of the technicians I know, nobody reads more than I do. I'm always staying current. I'm always, just reading the trade magazines. I'm always reading this and reading that and making sure, because there's so many times, I'm in group chats with different, technicians, and someone will ask a question and like, oh, hey, there's a technical service bulletin on that. They were having a problem with this. Make sure you check that first, because that could be part of your
hmm
part of your issue. So that it's but that and that surprises me in my industry, that a lot more technicians, they don't like read up on different things like that, because you never know when you're going to come across something weird. And
you
I
can
just
imagine
had
technology. I'm surprised, with just how things are advancing, even in the automobile industry. I mean, you almost seem like you have to.
yeah, you do. And luckily I'm on the tail end of my career. So the cars that are out there that aren't super, like the 2025s and 2026s that are coming out, the amount of technology in them, it's insane. I'm never going to have to deal with that,
Right.
in 5 years, 6 years, when those cars start breaking and that stuff starts going bad. I'll be out of this industry. So I'm not going to have to worry about that. So for my next 5 or 6 years, I'm still going to be working on, you know, 2020 Hyundai Elantras or Cadillac
Right.
Escalades that I know how to work on. So for the rest of my career,
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough that I'm not going to have to work on this garbage. But with that being said, people are always afraid of new cars. The more that's in a new car, the more that breaks, and that really is not the case. I remember when push button start came out,
hmm
and people were like, "Oh my god, they don't have a key. What are we gonna do?" Push button starts came out easily 10 years ago. No, more than that. Way more
hmm
than that. Maybe 12, 15 years ago. So I've never seen one go bad, ever. Like I've heard of it happening, but I've never personally ever known anybody or
Interesting.
have ever worked on a car that has had a push button start go bad. Heated seats, maybe once or twice in my career, a heated seat goes bad. So a lot of this technology that they're putting in cars that people are afraid of, these things are not going bad, to the level that people are so freaked out about. So
hmm
I don't see there being an issue with buying cars with a ton of technology in them, just because from my current experience, that technology doesn't go bad. It doesn't really break.
Right. That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd have no problem buying a car fully loaded with all the electronics and the gizmos, because that's what I want. I want all the
Right.
gizmos and the gadgets and the widgets. I want all of that stuff,
All the
you
fun
know,
shit.
all over fun shit. Yeah. Because all the
That's
things that
great.
go bad are still your mechanical things.
Yeah.
Like my truck was in a shop, and it was just a mechanical part in the motor. My truck has a fuck ton of gadgets and gadgets and
hmm
everything else. And what broke? A mechanical part inside the motor. Like the same thing that they've been making for 40 years.
hmm
That's what went. A push rod got
Yeah.
bent, a solid piece of metal. that didn't have any technology in it, just a solid piece of metal with a hole in either end. That went bad. So, it's
Cheap metal,
that,
cheap steel,
yeah,
China steel.
yeah. That's where you lie into the issue of cheap parts, and
Hmm.
that's getting to be a thing.
Yeah. Well, if there's always a way to cut corners or reduce the cost, especially when you're dealing with the construction of an automobile. Um, was it the AMC's back in like the late '70s? They used I remember all the Jeeps. It was like, gosh Almighty, you drove them off a lot, nice and shiny. Within 5 minutes, they were getting rust spots on them. All
Oh
that
yeah,
processed steel.
yeah,
I mean, God Almighty, it was just horrible.
yeah, yeah. It's cars have paint's gotten better. Yeah, everything has gotten a lot better. Parts are just getting more expensive. Tires are getting more expensive. Batteries, I had to tell an old lady today. Her
Batteries.
her battery was $350 for a battery. We put batteries in cars for $700.
I
You
know.
know,
We
it,
had
it
ours done, and I was like, Jennifer told me the price. I said, for a battery?
yeah.
Like I remember back in the days, just pulling up to the freaking auto part and going in, grabbing a $30 battery, and freaking unplugging the ground in the black and red, and popping that in and plugging it back in and driving off.
Yeah, exactly. We had a guy in today in a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee, or 2019, and he put his own battery in, and had having issues with the car, and we had to tell him, like, yeah, you put the wrong battery in. They're like, that battery cost me $200, and I go, yeah, you bought the cheap one. You needed the expensive battery. Like, it's AGM, absorbed glass mat battery. He put in a regular lead acid battery, and it's like, yeah, you put the wrong battery in. And
God, crazy, isn't it?
now he's screwed because he can't return the battery because there's nothing wrong with it. So now he's gonna have to go because he put it in himself. So now he's gonna have to go out and spend three. So now he'll be $500 whatever in the batteries,
Yeah.
when he should have just put the right one in to begin with. It was funny yesterday. I was doing a buttoning up an alignment on a car, and I had my computer plugged into the little OBD2 port. And the guy had just walked up, and he's like, what do you got going on in there? And I go, I'm just telling your car that, I aligned it. And he's like, what? And I go, yeah, I have to tell your car that I made some adjustments. I've never heard of such a thing. I go, yeah, it's dumb, but I got to do it. I have to tell your car that I did something. Same with batteries. Certain
Hmm.
cars, I got to tell the car that I replaced the battery.
Yep.
So it resets all the parameters and everything else. And so, yeah, that gets to be, we're having to do that more and more. We have to tell the computer that we did something,
Well,
so
yeah, man. I mean,
it
especially with
doesn't freak
batteries,
out.
like you said, the electric system that you hate so much. I mean, which I understand, especially with all the computers, all the different sensors. I mean, you just can't pull a battery out, plug a battery in, and drive off. It's
Yeah,
like
that's a thing in the
everything
past.
will get
Yeah.
fucked up.
Oh yeah, and then don't hook a memory saver up to my neighbor Chris. I was over to his house for 30 minutes trying to get his car running, because all he did was, and this is all in like I don't know, a late 2000s, like little Chrysler or a Chevy Cobalt. And he's like, oh, battery died. I think, actually, no, it was on his wife's Equinox. So it was like she drives like an 18 or 20.
Hmm.
He just popped the battery out and popped the new one in, wouldn't start afterwards. And I'm like, oh yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You got to hook up a memory saver into the OBD2 port, and keep the power alive to the computer, because so afterwards I had to hook up my scanner, and I had to put the key upside down in the cup holder, the front cup holder,
Yeah. Yeah.
facing forward, wait a certain amount of time, hit the button a few times, so the car would read the key that's in the cup holder.
Yeah.
And God forbid it's slightly askew. Yeah, make sure it's
Yeah.
perfectly straight, upside down, facing forward, hit the button, and then let the car do its thing, and you know, figure shit out.
Like the old
So
Nintendo cheat codes.
yeah,
X X X. Yeah. I mean, it's left, right, left, right.
yeah, but yeah, electrical on cars nowadays, it's just to read a wiring diagram is mind-boggling. That's why I don't do it. I always say I'm too old for this shit. I'm not getting into it now. Not at the tail end of my career. I am not learning all of this new electrical. I just don't do it.
I
So
can't
not,
imagine. I
you
mean,
know.
back in the day, the electrical was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, oh
Now with all the
exactly.
computers, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you never know what to start, or where to start. Like
Yeah,
GM had an issue in 23 or 24 with a no start condition on the Silverados where it wouldn't start, and you diagnose it as a bad fuel pump because the fuel pump was getting power, but unless you had a DVOM, digital volt ohm meter, you wouldn't know it was not getting the right amount of power. The technical service bulletin on that no start condition, when you're thinking it's a fuel pump, is unplug the driver's side headlight and see if there's any moisture on the plug going into the headlight because they had a faulty gasket on the plug for the fucking headlight. And if there's any moisture, you blew off the moisture, put a little dielectric grease around the rubber boot, and you plug the headlight back in, and your car would start.
it's crazy.
Crazy, a headlight connection. Water got or moisture got in the connection for the
Yeah,
headlamp and causing your car not to start because everything is interconnected now.
yeah,
And if you didn't know that, like it's just if you didn't pull up technical service bulletins, you would put in a $2,000 to $3,000 fuel pump just to find out that that truck still didn't start. And
yeah,
then most technicians would really dig into the wiring harness at that point or the wiring diagram. And then you'd be like, why the hell does this wire go to the headlight? That's weird. So yeah.
yeah. Especially when you
You know,
get those. I remember I had my '06 Altima. That was the I read the passenger side headlamp had a propensity to have the light bulb, the bulb blow out because there's water would get in there, and it was like kind of a common thing. And I remember I'm like, oh, this can't be too hard. I think I'll just replace the light bulb. So when I was like, oh look, I got myself a $3 light bulb. Oh, I gotta wear gloves, okay. And I'm like, it looks a little too small for my big fat fucking meat paw to go down there. I'm like, I gotta Google this. And then they had like the step by step. It was like 18 pages. Then I pulled up a YouTube video, just how to replace a light bulb.
yeah.
And I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, you have to just disassemble all sorts of shit, and then you go down there, and then I'm like, it's got the cotter pit. It's like this fucking small itty bitty. I'm like, I sat down there for like a couple hours because I was determined that it's not that hard. It cannot be that hard just to pull it out, pop it in, be on my way. And I could not do it. And I pulled up to this was years ago. I was in Pittsburgh. I pulled up to the oil change and they're like, hey, your front light's out. I go, yeah, I know. It needs a light bulb change. We can do that for you. I'm like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, we can. I go, no, you can't. Like, oh, you don't know us. I'm like, here's fucking light bulb, bro. And he
Yeah.
sat there for like, if they changed my oil and everything, and afterwards he's like, I can't do this. I'm like, I tried telling you. There's some major like removal of like the whole freaking the the fender. You got to loosen the bolts, pull it out, pop out the freaking the headlamp. I was like, it was just a big to do, not worth it.
Yeah, I gave a lady a quote on it was a Hyundai, I don't know, couple months ago, and a headlight was out, and it was $400, and she flipped out, thinking that we were ripping her off, and she left, and she came back the next day, and she apologized, and
Yeah,
she goes, you were actually the cheapest quote I got, and then so I pulled it in, and then once I got the headlight, I brought her out to the shop, and the front of her car was off. The entire bumper, everything was completely off of her car and laying on the ground. And then I showed her like what it took to replace. And then her headlight was a HID, high intensity discharge bulb. So like the bulb itself was a couple $100 for the bulb,
yeah,
and then I, explained to her like what we had to do and the type of bulb. And she was just mind blown that the front of her car was
Yeah.
off. It was no longer attached. And I had to do, I had to do all that just to change a headlight.
Pop in
And
on a
it's
headlight or a light bulb. Yeah.
yeah,
That's it.
that's it. People are just they just don't they don't know now. I had a lady in today with a Chevy Silverado, and she needed I recommended a cabin air filter because it had like 55,000 miles on it. She's like, she goes, "Is it dirty?" And I go, "I don't know." I go, "It's going to take me a half an hour to get to it. Like the manufacturer recommends you replace it at this time." I go, "I'm more than happy to check it, but if it's dirty, we're gonna put one in. Like it's like $90. So I'm like, if it's clean, I'll put it back together for you, no charge. But if it's dirty, you have
Yeah.
to put one in." She's like, "No." She goes, "My husband will do that." And I told her, I go, "He can't. He can't. It's not something that you can do.
Yeah.
You're yourself." She was older, so I mean, maybe if she was younger, and her husband was like 30 or 40, he could possibly do it. But I always tell those people, and I go, and I've said this in my tech tips. I say, your husband will say he can do it, but he won't. He'll
Yeah.
go out and buy that filter. He'll buy them wiper blades. He won't put them on. They'll be in the garage for months while you're driving around with your wipers streaking and you can't see, but he won't do it, So and then some women will laugh and like, "You're right, just go ahead and do it." And some like, "No, no, he'll do it." They'll come in the next
Yeah.
oil change, wiper blades are still torn, and I'll see a note. I'm like, "Hey," because I make those notes. Customer states husband
Yeah.
said he'll replace the wiper blades. So I'll see that note. C still hasn't done them wiper blades. And she's like, "Do it."
That's great.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
The sell up notes. You can definitely sell up when they're back in there. You'll get them eventually.
That's it. Nick Fusco, not related to the Nick Fusco of El Mago Cigars, because we've talked privately. The electric Mustangs had firmware issues. Yeah, definitely. For sure. And people don't know. We've said, I've mentioned it before. All cars need to be updated. If you've got a car that's at least 3 years old, you should make an appointment at the dealership and have the firmware updated, just like on your phone. They're going to ask you, "Are you having any problems?" No, I just like to have it updated because you never know. They tweak fuel economy, they tweak little things here. Your car runs better. You may get an option on your radio that you didn't have before. So every couple of years, definitely, call your dealership up and say, "Hey, I'd like to have my computer, updated, reprogrammed." And they'll do it, and you'd be surprised sometimes how much it runs, it runs better.
That's crazy. That's
It's
crazy.
absolutely nuts.
It's all computer driven.
All computers. It's all bearings.
It's all
All
ball
bearings.
bearings, Clark. All ball
It's
bearings.
it's all ball bearings nowadays. So
So I got to ask you, are we are we
thank you very much.
the I tap that theme, which is fantastic, by the way. Is
The
that
what? Yeah,
the I tap that theme?
yeah.
Is that something that getting a puff and ponder with that same type instead of the chick one, the Sheryl Crow?
For the yeah. Yeah, we need to
Because you played that beginning, I was like, "Am I losing my mind here?" But because I love the theme, I think it's fantastic.
wait a minute. Did I play the wrong?
Yeah, yeah, that's why
Oh,
it's so long.
I did.
Yeah,
I was so
I
I
thought
didn't
I actually went back into my email. I'm like, "Did I miss the fucking notes for a
you
guest? Am I losing my mind
you
here?"
you should have stopped it. I was so freaked out because my computers, I had to switch computers and
Where's
cameras.
Jessica? Where's
And,
Jessica?
and, and now that I'm looking at it, yes, we
Jessica, if you're listening or if you're gonna listen to this, Kevin's advice was I should have just stopped that. Whenever on a show would you just be like, "Oh, Kevin's playing a theme song. I'm just gonna stop it because I think it's the wrong one." And if I could stop it, Kevin will fucking push it back on again and be like,
oh
"Look,
my
message. I put that on there because of this one." Blah, blah. Okay, great. I'm not gonna argue. I always go with the assumption that you know what you're doing. So I wanted to breach that conversation with you because it's a great theme song. I thought like you were like, okay, well, maybe this is kind of like a hey guys, like that theme song. Should we have something catchy like that? Instead of Sheryl Crow, or whatever that theme song is
Yes.
that you have,
So yeah, I'll play that at the end.
the
But
part
yeah,
part
so
and ponder or
yeah,
whatever it is.
I
Podcast,
gotta do a two Puff and Ponder part cast
partcast.
theme song. Boy, this is not gonna make any sense at all on the podcast, people listening, and then they're
None.
gonna,
You have to wait
so
an hour and 55 minutes to get the understanding of that,
yeah,
but
to
that's
get
that's
the
perfectly fine.
understand. Yeah, they're gonna be listening the whole time. Going, are they ever gonna explain what happened? We
Well, I
are
got
right now.
coming out of the gates. We started chatting, and I've been sitting there the whole time thinking I got to bring this up to Kevin. And every time I think to bring it up, we get sidetracked on another conversation. But yeah, I thought, all right, well, he's doing it for a reason. I don't know, maybe he's,
No,
you know.
because I'm not an expert, and I will default when necessary to the expert.
Well,
So
I thought you had a rationale to it, Kevin. You know what?
so
I should have messaged him and like,
yeah.
what gives? What gives? Well, that's all
So
right.
next time, feel free just to stop it and then ask, and then if I had a reasoning, I will replay it. So next week, we're off. This will be our first off week of the year, I think.
Yeah.
Since we came back, it's St. Patrick's Day next week. I have got to get my taxes done, so we got a lot. I got a lot going on. I'll just be coming away, coming out of the Great Smoke, so we're not getting home until Sunday. It's going to be a long weekend, so I got a ton of stuff to do. So we're going to take off next Monday. So I hope everybody has a good St. Patrick's Day. It's not St. Patty. St. Paddy, DDY, is acceptable, but we still prefer St. Patrick's. I'm liking the music tribute you post. Good tunes to smoke to. Keep them coming. I did one last night, and it was the hardest one I've done yet. It took me 2 hours, over a dozen tries, and I'm still not super happy, but I'm going to post it anyways. That'll be coming up. But yeah, I've been having fun doing those, and the manufacturers have really enjoyed them. I did the one with Matt Booth of Room 101, and he said to me afterwards, let's see, what was Matt's? Let me see. Sent me a text. Where is Matt's text? And said, put me on your show or I will curb stomp your perineum. So that was that was Matt's response to my video.
Did you have to look up perineum?
No, I know what a perineum is. So,
Okay, checking.
yes, yeah. So, all right, everybody. So, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another Puff and Ponder podcast. I don't know who we'll have on next month for the I Tap That Cigar show, but we'll figure it out. Thanks everybody for tuning in
Yeah.
and watching, and we'll leave everybody with actually we actually have a
Do we have like
uh
did we have
we
like comparisons or no?
comparisons.
We were creating different theme songs, see what people liked.
Oh yeah, we'll outro with the reggae one, but we do have an ad read that we have forgotten our other two people of the show, but we'll just do the one that matters the most, and that is Irish Beard Balm. No gimmicks, just results. Here's a fact. No product can magically grow your beard, but you can make the most of the beard you've got with Irish Beard Balm. This isn't your average balm. It's a lightweight formula that conditions and softens your beard without using heavy butters that weigh it down. The secret? A mix of natural ingredients like beeswax, hemp seed oil, and argan oil that hydrate and protect your beard, leaving it looking and feeling great. Don't settle for less. Try Irish Beard Balm today and feel the difference. And I always like to say, I own the company irishbeardbalm.com. So you can there's a link down in the video description below, podcast description if you're listening to this in the future. And I think that's it. Care anything else
No,
going
man.
on?
You got any plans for St. Patrick's Day?
I'm gonna do my taxes. Um,
Nice.
so like any good respectable Irishman would do is
I'm
respect or And I am
That's what
going to, and
I'll be
I
enjoying
will,
one of these, man.
I will definitely be enjoying a Grace O'Malley Pirate Queen as well. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
We'll see you.
Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. Yes, Kevin and her. Grab your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and her with stories in mind, from tech gifts to last night's